right, let it rip, tater chip.
Welcome back to the JFP podcast. My name is Keegan, and we're missing Randy this week. He's off in vacation in Cancun. But regardless, we're going to continue on without him. We're talking to Trevor. He was on our podcast last week as like a third host, and now he's back again, so I can interview him now. What's going on, Trevor?
Oh, you know, another day in paradise. Excited, glad to be here. Appreciate you.
No, again, we appreciate you jumping on and talking to at least me for the next, I don't know, hour, 2 hours.
I mean, you know me. I can always talk paintball.
That's awesome, man. But, we kind of dive in right real quick. Tell us about your first experience playing paintball.
Oh boy. So, it's honestly just kind of like most people's. So I started playing. My first time was my personal bachelor party.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was back in 22. Yeah, because I got married in 22. My my buddies flew me out my bachelor party was in Baltimore. My best man was out, well, he was living out there. So flew me out there and spent the weekend out there. And I think it was like Saturday, they took me to the paintball field that was kind of close by and started there. I mean, Tippmann 98, which, as we all know, is your basic rental gun. First time I had ever, touched one in, God, since I was pretty young. My first experience was really cool. We got to talking to some of the guys that were out there, and they actually, told them we were out there for my bachelor party. They actually hooked me up and let me use some of their equipment. So I got to use a Shocker amp of my bachelor party. I mean, I know you're kind of a Shocker fan, so it was actually really cool. Getting the whole setup, Shocker amp. I don't even remember what hopper I had, but it was an electronic hopper, and it was kind of nice just being able to go out there and kind of rip and just let paint fly. And that's honestly, I think if that wouldn't have happened, I don't think I would have probably continued to play because I had so much fun.
Yeah, it goes back to that theme where people, when they first learn about paintball, they go to the first time for like a birthday or a bachelor party. They only know the experience of like the Tippmann 98 or the Tippmann A5 or whatever the baseline Tippmann or marker they're going to get, and they have no experience further into paintball. They don't know that electronic markers exist, and it's kind of crazy how you say that you wouldn't have gotten a paintball if that experience didn't happen. I'm wondering, like you said, I'm curious to where you'd be right now if you never had that experience.
I kind of am too. And it's something I've always kind of wondered because honestly, paintball has opened a lot of different doors for me in a sense, which is kind of an odd thing to really think about. I started playing, came back and really dove into it. Came back, spent $800 and got myself set up to be able to come play. And I was driving out to Splat Tag. I was driving an hour and a half to go play paintball because I didn't know Annandale was, 30 minutes away. So that was, and then so I was, started playing scenarios and just kind of really grew from there. Jumped on the speedball field and I was just like, yep, this is what I want to do. I actually think I played a Sunday challenge that year, and that's what really kind of made it, in a sense, really kind of dive into it, into the speedball of it, because I kind of fell in love with it. I'll make sure I send you some pictures too of like my first ever photo of me playing my first ever Sunday challenge with my little Empire axe,
Hell yeah.
my Costco joggers. I'm pretty sure I have a Michael Jordan hoodie on and some Michael Jordan shoes playing on turf. Like I was just like, I just need the gun and the mask and I'm set. So
Yeah.
it was that, that was really kind of what propelled me into the sport nonetheless.
That's awesome. So I assume your first marker that you owned was that axe?
Yeah, it was my axe. I had that thing for, oh God, from like July up, no, it's like June until November of that same year. And then I turned around and bought a 170R, my blue and silver 170.
Yep. And then you've been rocking that for a while. And then lately, just recently, You got something. You got a new toy. Explain.
I did. So for Christmas, my lovely mother-in-law bought me a one of one graffiti from Masons. Shout out Masons, CS3 Pro. Uh,
That's
that
sweet.
is quite the upgrade. Obviously, you've seen it because I showed you boys right away, and I showed the team. But I'm so excited. I am. Big things are going to happen this year with that. I guarantee it.
Definitely gonna throw up a picture of it on the screen here for those who are watching on YouTube. I think that marker is freaking sweet, dude. I'm excited to see what you can do with it. I'm excited to rip it myself once the time comes.
Come field time. I'll let you know. Obviously, I'll let some of the guys rip it, but
I
first
gotta.
first person to shoot somebody with it is me. So
Well, of course, of course. What keeps you coming back to the field, Trevor?
it's 100% the community. I think for me, it's I'm always happy. I'm happy to talk to everybody. I love to build those relationships. I just my wife hates it. I talk to anybody and everybody at the paintball field. I will show up and then I am just gone. My wife used to come with me to the field every weekend, and she doesn't anymore because I'm just gone. I just leave her because I'm constantly talking to somebody. I'm trying to build those connections,
Yep.
and just trying to bring people into the game. It's really kind of where it's at now. Making
Mhm.
sure people have a great time because paintball has brought such a joy in my life that I want other people to experience the same thing.
Mhm. We briefly talked about it last week, the differences between paintball down in Florida because you used to play for the Rat Kings last
Correct.
year,
Yep.
and then you moved back up here. You were up here before you moved down, and then you came back to Minnesota. You guys briefly talked about it, but I want, if you can you expand on some of the differences between how paintball works down in Florida versus up here, like play wise?
Play wise, it's a lot faster. It is a lot faster. It's very simplified down there in a sense too. So, obviously, like we said, I played for the Rat Kings basically the entire season last year.
Mhm.
I missed two events, and the amount of preparation that a person has to do down there, and I kind of preach it to like, obviously our guys. Yeah, you got to stay hydrated. You got to drink water. You got to stay hydrated. But even once you step out onto the field, it's you never want to walk into the bear cave and expect the bear to be in there.
Yeah.
Down there, expect the bear to be in front of you every time.
Jeez.
That's it. It is absolutely crazy. I think it took me two or 3 months before I even stepped foot on the speedball field down there. I tried to acclimate myself, tried to kind of gauge the players down there. So I played rec, and even the rec side, people were just animals. It's crazy. It really truly is. I just didn't understand it. I was like, I am not used to this. The speed and the accuracy of these guys and their communication, and it was just I'm like this is just rec players.
Yeah.
And then jump onto the speedball field, and it's multiply that by 10. It's they I mean, they obviously they can play all year, but it's when they're at the field, it is grind time. Practice, we'd be at the field at 8 o'clock. You're on the field at 9 running points, and it is constant. I mean, we'd have probably a minimum of 12 lines and teams out there on
Mhm.
a any given Sunday, especially a layout weekend. Like we were just talking with Steven last weekend, and I guarantee they probably had 12 teams, and they're running points from 9 in the morning until 1, 2 in the afternoon, and it's nonstop. There's teams that are waiting to get on the field. Once you're done, you get off the field, another team's on. I
Yeah.
mean, realistically, the only time you're stopping is when the ref needs to, step off the field for something, or a bunker needs to get blown up, or otherwise outside of that, you're constantly just going. It's once you're off the field, okay, who are we playing next? All right, perfect. We're gonna play these guys. Let's go. Let's spin it. We're gonna play our same lines. That's fine. Get on the box. Get to the gate. Once that game's done, step on the field. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm curious. we do a lot of drills for our team when we have practice time. Do you guys do drills, or is it strictly just points?
It's strictly points. Saturdays, some Saturdays we would go and do drills, and things like that. But I've always used rec play as drills. That's where I'm going to practice my snap shooting, my, just kind of them weird shots and just kind of get used to the motions. Because that's all you're doing with drills for the most part is you're just going through the motions of trying to get better. It was one of those, it was, hey, if you want to come out and do it, you can. I think I did a couple times. But outside of that, no, it was there for the points. We're gonna play.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. Steven's take was they just play more paintball in general than everybody else, and that's how they win. And I was going to ask you if that's kind of a similar recommendation that you have for our team. If you had it your way, what would you like? Would you play points, or would you be just doing drills, or both?
If I had it my way, we'd just be playing strict points.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know,
because I do see that. I see that as a valid, valid point. They play paintball. That you can do the motions all at home. You can practice your snap shooting at home if and when available.
yep.
And spending that field time, we should be running points constantly so people can get through the motions and actually on the field doing what they've been practicing. So I think that's
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, not only that, but we had the one practice. There's just a lot of dead time. We're there to practice, and we're doing, more almost standing around talking than being able to get the truest form of ourselves out on that field playing. I don't thrive. Me personally, I don't thrive doing drills. I'll do them, but it's for me. I honestly at times I think it's just a waste of time. I need to be behind that bunker, with people shooting at me shooting back, and just building that chemistry with my teammates, my guys, building that trust. I think that's where when you're running constant points, you're setting yourself up for success because you're seeing so many different looks and things that you aren't used to seeing, that just snap shooting isn't going to see.
Yeah.
And that's where I think if I had it my way, we would just run points. I think it would benefit us, especially because we have such a, shortened season versus, people south of us.
Yeah. I think it would be a waste of time if, let's just say, our first practice before we went to EXL, we spent hour, 2 hour, three, how much ever time doing drills when, all of our guys are, already capable players, and they can get to practicing just playing points.
Right.
And again, I think it's going to be just a waste of time if we were just to do drills. So I think you moving forward, we're going to be just playing paintball. We're just going to be spinning points and try to get as many guys out there as possible to run 5-man points, because that's what we're focusing on this year. Obviously, we're going to be doing the 3-man stuff, and we'll focus on 3-man stuff when we get closer to those events. But I think it's very important that we focus on our 5-man.
Oh, 100%, and it's one of those things. The more paintball we play, the more we're going to see, the better we're going to be, because everyone else is playing paintball. We need to almost follow suit. We just need to play paintball. I'm gonna shout out the Rat Kings here. They had a phenomenal weekend.
Yeah,
And I think they took 2 firsts and 1 second over the
that's
weekend.
huge.
So 3 out of the 5 lines podiumed, which is
That's huge.
huge. And
Yeah,
all they do is they show up and they just play paintball. Slightly different dedication as well, is something that I've kind of noticed. People up here treat it more as a hobby, and you said it kind of really great. This last episode that you do a hobby in the wintertime and you just kind of transition that into the spring and summer, and people don't really come back.
yeah,
What I really look for in our guys is kind of that passion. What are you willing to sacrifice to come out to that field and just be better? Show
yeah.
us your truest form and become the best you possible out on that field. And
Mm.
that's where, playing points is gonna elevate us as a team.
Yeah, for sure. Trevor, in your opinion, what is the most important thing a field can do to get new players playing paintball?
You know, that's kind of a good question. To just get more people to play paintball. I think it all comes down to what you offer. I'm gonna use this prime example. I'm gonna use our field up here versus the field I played at down in Florida. In Florida, it was very seldom did you have a private group where you had your own personal ref. It's,
Mhm.
hey, I have a group. Okay, the groups are now mixing in with us regulars, and it's us regulars to really retain those people to get them to come back. It's not up to it is up to the field, but it's really less onto the field owners as it is us regulars, in my opinion. If we can show them a great time and really show them what paintball in its truest form is. It's building those relationships. It's making new relationships. Getting them to just come back is on us. The field owner got them there. They put those posts on Facebook. They have their website. They did the things to get the people there. It's our job as paintballers, whether you're pro, semi-pro, all the way down to D6, and you also have to set your ego aside too.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how good you are, you need to show that new person almost respect,
Yeah.
and hey, this is your first time, great, follow me, I got you, we'll work together. I used to have most of the littler kids would be my battle buddy. The refs, when a new kid would show up and, maybe they were by themselves, they'd pair him with me. They'd be like, "Hey, Trevor, you got a Timmy." That's what they call the new rentals. They call them Timmies. Timmies. Shout out David for that one, and my buddy Preach. But they knew I'd always make sure that safety always came first.
Yeah.
They knew I would always make sure that that player was safe, and then B, they knew I'd always make sure they had a great time.
Mhm.
And that's the first rec game we played. The little Timmy flipped his mask off because he got shot right in the mask, and he almost got shot in the face.
Oh, jeez.
But I saved him. He was a little shaken up. And so was I, because he's a young kid. He had to have been 10 years old, and I walked him off the field. I made sure he was okay, and he didn't go home after that.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm good. Let's do it again. Let's go back out there. I got this." And if we showed more people that, I think the sport would grow even more. The pros are great to watch and see, but it's such a niche sport, and the amount of dedication you'd have to put in for it to get there, if for most people is just unrealistic. But for the ones that don't want to do that and they just want to play paintball, those are the people we need to get back, because that'll ultimately kind of shift it into where the sport grows even more, in my honest opinion.
Yeah. What's the main thing that you miss from playing down in Florida with the Rat Kings?
Oh man, that's that dedication. I miss their dedication. I truly do. And I'll compare the Rat Kings to us, and I hate doing it because I love both teams just as equally much. But if I had to say, and obviously this is on the podcast right here, I obviously don't edit this out because I want people to know this. If there was a tournament that was coming up and it was I had to choose to play with for JFP or the Rat Kings, as at this current moment I would choose the Rat Kings all day every day, because the level of dedication that they put in, the amount that they talk paintball, the amount of how they try to improve each other. There's never any negativity, which obviously we don't have any, negativity, but it's always paintball. It's always, how can I help? How can I make you guys better? And that's where I kind of strive. And I know I myself, in coming back to JFP, because obviously it was started with me, you, and John, and then I left to go to Florida, and then I come back and try and kind of instill what I got so used to into a team that I kind of got that backlash from it because the people here on our team just weren't used to it. You know,
Yeah.
it's not something that they were accustomed to. And it's just because for me, I expect greatness out of our guys because that's what I'm used to. I'm used to that level of dedication. I know I don't always necessarily talk much in our group chat, but when I do, it's always paintball related. You know, hey, what can you guys do to be better? But you know, I expect the same level out of myself as I do everybody else, and that's kind of where it really, for me, I think that's where I struggle the most. Is you know, there's parts of me that I would love to go back. Like I would, if I could go back and play in Florida, I would. In the hand, no questions asked, hands down. Let's go. Let's let it
Mhm.
rip. Just because that level of dedication that I have.
Yep. And it makes sense because like I'm gonna be honest about this. Like JFP is a small organization. Obviously, we're trying to grow. We don't have a lot of I'm gonna say highly ranked players because our the best guy on our team is a D4, and we don't have that experience around paintball, and it makes sense why someone would be more prone to going to a bigger, more successful organization that has that track record because you're going to be learning a lot more from them, you know, because they've played a lot more than you, and that's not a, it's not a bad thing about our team. It's just we got a lot of room to improve, and it's one thing I'm looking forward to is that. But like I said, like I wouldn't blame anybody if they were be like, oh, you know, I rather, you know, if given the opportunity, I'd love to play with these guys. Yeah, that's a given, and I respect that. I think people are resistant towards change, and the reason why I kind of had you come on, you know, as a coach, as a bigger figure, is because you were down in Florida. You saw the recipes for success, and I wanted that to translate into our success. And this is no knock to any of our guys, but I think a lot of our guys are resistant towards change because they're comfortable with where they're at and they don't want to change anything. And I think that in order to become a better team, I think change needs to be implemented to a certain degree because if we keep doing the same thing, yeah, we could still see success, but we will never know if we don't change things, you know, what that success would look like if we make the better improvements and whatnot. And you know, I don't like the fact that you got a little bit of backlash because your input is highly, at least to me, is highly very important because like I said, you saw the recipe to success and you know what that looks like, and all you're trying to do is make our team better. I think we need to start doing things a little bit differently as an organization because now we're no longer those group of guys where it's just our first intention was to have a group of guys to go out and play paintball with, but now we're starting to have a serious team, and that needs to come with some serious, you know, responsibilities as a team to encourage each other to grow. And I think you are a vital recipe to that success.
You know, I appreciate that, Keegan, and I think at the very beginning, you know, when I came back, you know, I think I probably could have went about it a little bit different. I think, you know, I just kind of came in. It was just like, hey, yep, let's do this. This is what we're gonna do.
Hmm.
I kind of like inserted it rather than really more than just talking to people. I think that's kind of the struggle that came with it.
Hmm.
You know, obviously, I've known most of the guys, but there was a lot of guys I never played with.
Yeah.
In you know, in the year that I was gone, staying, you know, I try to jump in your guys' meetings and you know chats and you know kind of try and put my 2 cents worth in.
Yeah.
And that's just because I wanted to see you guys grow. I want to see you guys do really great things.
Hmm.
And I know, you know, obviously, I know our organization is great. It really, truly is great. I think we can be better than what we are.
Yeah.
And that's where like you know this season, you know, obviously as coaching with you, and obviously I wear more hats than just the coach hat. You know, when it comes to being a coach this year, especially for us that are traveling to EXL, the guys need to expect me to be harder on them because when it comes to traveling and tournaments, it's going to be a lot different than what a lot of people are used to. It's go time at the end of the day. You know, I'm almost gonna demand perfection in a sense, but not really demand perfection, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I was very I'm very soft spoken. It's not like I don't get mad. I just don't like to chew people out. But I think there needs to be a somewhat out of an understanding with everybody on our team where if we're chewing somebody out, it's coming from a place of love because we know you can do better and we want you to grow and succeed as an individual in your paintball career, rather than a place where we're just shitting on you just to shit on you because you suck as a player.
Right, exactly. And I know for me, it's tough love is really kind of what it is. If I'm yelling at you, it's because I know you can do better.
Yeah.
It's not that, you were snap shooting a guy and you dipped instead of dodging. It's, hey, that's okay. It happens. Like when you're doing certain things, obviously we're not going to get mad. But if you do something, dumb and you knew you shouldn't have done it, okay, hey, I'm probably going to get on to you. Like, why did you do that? You know, big one. Why weren't you communicating? The Summer Cup, the Annandale Summer Cup, every single line played their heart out. Every single line made it past prelims and into the Ochos. And, Randy, Braden, and Derek?
Yep.
They made what, second place, third place?
Second place. Yep.
Second place, and I loved to see that, and now I have high hopes and even more of an expectation from those guys because those guys are now leaders of the team.
Yep.
Whether
Precise.
whether they want to be or not, they are. They are now winners. They now are able to be, hey, I did this. Let's see what we can bring to the table now.
And that kind of yeah. There was some hesitancy at the beginning of the season about going to EXL, and some individuals, I'm not going to name names, were hesitant because they're like, I don't want to go down there. I don't want to get shit on by people who play paintball year round. But it's just like at the same time, it's just like we won't know unless we go down there. We won't know. You know, I want to tell these guys, hey, we're fucking better than everybody else out there. We just got to play our game at
Just
the
gotta play
same time.
paintball.
Yeah, we got to have those guys be the leaders on our team. Those guys who have they've tasted success, and I want them to spoon feed their success to the rest of our guys and have them hunger for that success.
And that's kind of what I'm hoping, ending the season like we did. I'm hoping more people really want and have that hunger to, hey, we did this in 3-man. Let's move this into 5-man. Let's get real hungry with it. Let's be sharks. We've got this. Because at the end of the day, just because people are maybe playing more paintball than us doesn't mean that they're better than us. Doesn't mean that they have
Yep.
that connection, that bond, that trust. And if we do all of the correct things and still lose, we still won.
Yeah.
And that's what, heck, even you remember our first 3-man together, me, you, and John?
Yeah.
We came what, dead last?
No, we were not. I don't think we were dead last. We were the second to
Oh, we were
last.
second, yeah, second to last. And we had a great time. You battled it out in a nice little, what, 1v3?
The 1v2 versus Havoc.
1v2. I mean, come on. I mean, we got so hyped up after that. And
Yeah.
yeah, hey, we took second to last, but guess what? That next year we ran it back again and we did better.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're improving. We've all played paintball long enough to use, well, hey, we're gonna get shit on as an excuse. We've
Hmm.
all already gotten shit on.
Yeah.
Hell, when I was in Florida, I was getting shit on by D3s. That was not fun. I would take
That's
getting shit on by some D5s all day long.
that's an interesting concept because we go to the field. We're not playing against D3 players. We're playing against other D4, like D5, D4 players. And occasionally, like there'll be that one guy that comes that like I'm forgetting his name, but he played for the Philippines team. If you told me his name, I'd be able to, yeah, it's him. But he played for
Okay.
the Philippines team and really good snake player. And yeah, occasionally you'll get one of those good guys. But I just kind of want to gauge from your experience, what's it like just playing, like, for a lack of a better terms, better players? Players that are
It's
ranked higher
very
than you.
it's very eye opening. Like up here, I thought I was good. I was like, I'm a pretty good player. No, I wasn't. I wasn't even close to a good player. Like it very much changed a perspective for me.
Mhm.
It really humbled me in a sense of, damn, I am not that good by any means. Like there's
Mhm.
definitely people way better than me. But I took that and I learned. I learned from all of that. I've played against some great guys. Pete Vogue from the Rat Kings. He's a phenomenal player. Weasel, Sam, and most of these guys are D4 and are still. It's like D3 up here is what it would be. You got Matt Swist, Jasper Long. I mean, Jasper from Rat Kings. He's their I think D3 Snake player now. It honestly, it was very humbling.
Mhm.
But I think I needed to be humbled. I really did, and it was very like I said, it's very eye opening because there's always people better than you. But if that wakens something in you to want to learn and improve and be better, and you actually do it and follow along with it, you can win medals. And I'm proof of that.
Mhm.
My first event with the brothers Bobby and Brian from the Rat Kings, I played we played like 18 points that day, and I played every single point as the home player.
Wolf.
And yeah, it was I couldn't walk for 2 days afterwards. It was rough, but just playing with better players. These guys were D6 players,
Mhm.
and you wouldn't have thought they were D6 players.
That's the. I love how you brought this up because you say that these guys are D6 players, but they're not. You swear that they're better than the D6 players, and you know I think that's what everybody fears is that going down to EXL. We're playing D5, but these guys have been playing paintball for so much longer than we have, and they're technically ranked D5, but these guys have been playing with D4, D3 players their whole career. And, I think, that's going to be an eye opener for us. I think we've touched on this a little bit, but in your opinion, for the guys who are going up and want to make their, paintball a career that they actually want to do well and to take it to the next level, what do you think it takes for that individual to go to the next level? I know you say dedication is a lot of it, but are you able to kind of explain anything else in your opinion? What needs to be done in order to go to the next level?
So I was listening to the podcast when he just interviewed Mike Bianca, and he said something that really kind of resonated. You can love paintball. Paintball can be your passion, but you're not going to get anywhere if you're not willing to sacrifice. And I could be butchering that a little bit. To go anywhere, you have to sacrifice. You almost have to suffer. I've lost time with my kid. I've lost time with my wife. Obviously, we're going to sacrifice money, but a lot of it's time. You're going to sacrifice a lot of time into yourself. And it's not just even just playing paintball at the end of the day. It's doing those things outside of paintball, eating healthy, and drinking enough water, exercising, and then you have the mental side of it. You have to be mentally strong because you're going to have some tough days. It's
Yeah.
not going to be fun. There's going to be some practices and some days playing that it's going to break you down and it's going to kill you a little bit mentally. But it's how you come back from that. I practiced. It was one of my last practices in Florida. I got heat. I don't know, exhaustion, stroke. I'm not really sure what it was. Both Saturday and Sunday at practice, I had to be carried from the sidelines into the tents to be cooled down.
Mhm.
I sacrificed my health to improve myself and dedicate myself even after I had that heat exhaustion slash heat stroke. Because I played, I had it, I cooled down, I suited back up and got right back out there.
That's crazy.
That's the level of dedication and suffering, really suffering that you have to put yourself through to really want to do it. And anytime you want to do something or you want to make a change in your life, something's going to have to suffer. Paintball makes a lot of things suffer, unfortunately. But we do it because we love it. Unfortunately, you know what I mean?
You just aren't suffering physically. Your bank's account is also suffering.
Yeah, your body, your bank, your brain, everything.
Dang, that's funny though. It's that's the harsh reality of things is that a lot you've got to sacrifice a lot of things in order to make yourself a better person and to make yourself a better player.
100%. And I have to shout out my wife. My wife has been my rock through my entire paintball journey. I've given up a lot of time to being with my wife to go out and play. Thankfully, my wife encourages me to go out and play. She knows I love it. She knows I'm extremely passionate about it. That's all I can talk about most days is paintball. I will find a way to bring it up in some sort of conversation because I love to talk about it. Even people at work, I talk about it, and they're like, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "Paintball." I'm like, "You got to come play paintball. Let's go. I got extra gear. Come on out." But no, at the end of the day, my wife has been truly my biggest supporter. She's come to games, she's come to scenario events. My wife sat in the car for 8 hours so I could be the general of one of the splat ball or splat tag, excuse me, scenario games. She sat in the, she
Whoa,
got up at 4 in the morning to drive all the way to Wisconsin, sit in the car for 8 hours, turn around and drive home.
that's
That
rough.
and my wife did it because she knows that paintball brings so much joy in my life. It's not that she wanted to do it. My wife, she would prefer to just stay home. She's like, nah, that's fine. You can go. Um, but she sees the dedication. She sees what paintball means to me in my life.
Yeah.
We say, hey, we're gonna be at the field, at 9. I'm there at 8.
Mhm.
I'm usually the first one there and the damn near the last one to leave
Yeah.
because I've instilled kind of greatness in myself. Not that I'm great, that I can be great.
It's the
And
expectation of, being true to yourself.
100%. Did you ever? I think it was. I don't know if it was an Oscar or a Grammy that Matthew McConaughey got, and he did a big long speech that kind of went viral. And one
I
of
know.
them was, "Who's your hero?" And he's always chasing himself every day, every minute, every month, every year.
Mhm.
His hero's always gonna be 10 years ahead of him,
Yep.
but it gives you someone to chase. And if you can chase yourself to become great, you will be great.
That's amazing.
It's gonna take time. But if you're willing to put in that dedication, that suffering, you will get there. It's not gonna be all, rainbows and sunshine and butterflies. There's going to be a lot of pain that comes with it,
Mhm.
but you will get there. At the end of the day, you will get there. You will have medals and trophies and inspire other people to be great. But you have to look for that greatness in yourself and chase it in yourself first.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love that. I think that needs to be put out in the world a lot more than what it is now. I feel like everybody should have to listen to that. You should always be chasing yourself 10 years, like yourself 10 years from now. Like imagine yourself from 10 years from now and chase to be that person. I love that.
Yep, give yourself something to chase and go after it. Go get it. You'll get there eventually, maybe, but you're going to be a pretty damn good person by the time you get there, if you get there.
Hmm. Switching things up a little bit. I know we were serious for now, but I kind of want to switch gears into what your most memorable experience on the field was.
Oh boy, on the field. I got two. I got two of them. The first one just because it was Bobby from the Rat Kings. The last tournament we played together, I shot him in the back of the head. Um, it made me laugh because he seen it coming. He knew what I was doing. I was shooting a lane from home to home, and he was at this. I was at I think it was a tall Aztec, and he was at a big brick, and he was going up and down and just trying to just get this guy, and I was just shooting a lane, and he poked his head up, and I couple right in the back of the head. We get off the field. He's like, "Man, you shot me." I was like, "Yeah, I did." I was like, "That's my bad." He's just like, "I don't even know why I jumped in front of you."
Did you guys win the point at
Uh,
least?
Yeah, we won it. I'm
It
pretty sure
doesn't
we did.
matter. It don't matter.
Yep, yep. Um, but I think for me my my biggest one, my number one most memorable, was the very first tournament with the Rat Kings. We ended up playing our own line. We had two D6 3-man lines, and we played each other.
Wolf.
Yeah. And for me it was a big one. It was probably, to me, it was the most important match of the day because they knew how I played, we knew how they played. And
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest, the other team, in my opinion, was pretty damn good. I lost Bobby at first. In here, let me preface this. John on the other team, he told me right before we were going out there, he said, Trevor, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you out. And I said, I'll be waiting for you. I'll be at the home. Point starts, both sides. Didn't lose a body off the break. And that was rough because that layout, I was shooting everybody off the break. We lost Bobby. It was me and Brian. So we lost our snake player. I was home. Brian was Dorito side. We were communicating, and he got outgunned by John, nonetheless. Um, and I look over. I was shooting snake side. I looked Dorito side, and I just see John. And I was just thinking in my head, "Oh no!" I was like, "He's actually gonna do it." I was like, "He's actually gonna get me," and he didn't. We battled, and I shot him, and it bounced off the Dorito and clipped him in his visor.
Oh man.
Yup,
Dirty.
it was dirty, and I couldn't believe it. And his heart just kind of just sunk. He's like, "Man, are you serious?" I mean, he battled like a champ. And then I got to give props to Merkel. He is the old timer. I was on the team. Me and him battled each other, and I cyclopsed him. I don't know how I did, but I did because I was no longer at the home. I had to start advancing. I
Yep.
couldn't be comfortable. I had to get that courage and keep going. I got Merkel out, and then it was me and Tristan. Tristan, 17-year-old kid, playing the snake. I mean, he was young and athletic. I mean, this kid is a beast in the snake.
Mhm.
Um, I was Dorito side, he was snake side, and I saw where he was. So I shot through just a small little gap to get him to look where I was, and then I moved. He popped back up, and I got him, and I got to go hit that buzzer. And to
That's
me,
correct.
that was the most memorable because it was the most meaningful, in my opinion. I got to be on the field with all of my guys against my guys.
A time that actually matters where if you win or lose, coming out on top must feel like you're on top of the world. And to be honest, you got a little bragging rights over those guys.
Yeah, a little bit. And you would think my most memorable would be, winning that tournament because we took first that tournament.
Mhm.
And I don't want to take anything away from that, but I don't know. It meant the world to be able to play against my guys, and show them that, hey, I'm here. I'm here to mean business. Versus, hey, we beat you guys for this medal.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
yeah, and
But then
I
they
we
came back the next tournament and got first, and we got third. So
I know that I think that happened to us this last Annandale 3-man where one of our lines played each other and we're kind of forced in that situation. And I wasn't at that tournament, but two of our lines played each other, and it was just like kind of a shitty moment because like had we played anybody else, I had full confidence both of our lines would have moved on to the next round.
100%.
And it sucks
Yeah.
because like you got to put one of your own teams down to move on, and it's just like damn, like
Yeah, but it's kind of rewarding at the same time, which kind of is contradictory because it's like it sucks, but it's just like, okay, we've played together for how long?
mhm.
Let's meet at the 50, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I hope to be in a position where we're fortunate enough to be in that situation again. And so I hope we can continue to grow our team and to get new guys on our team and really participate in those 3-man tournaments because those are what get people into the tournament scene, at least up here.
Oh,
And
100%.
I wanted to kind of ask you what your thoughts and opinions are on 3-man tournaments versus 5-mans. I know up here, especially in Minnesota, there aren't a lot of 5-man events going on, and there are pretty much strictly 3-man events. How do you feel about 3-man versus 5-man?
I mean, I don't know. I've only ever actually played one 5-man tournament. I prefer 5-man. There's, I don't know, less variables in a sense, but more variables. You can really rely on your guys a little more in 5-man.
Hmm.
3-man, you lose a body and you've lost half your team. You
Yeah.
know, there's more of the field for you to scan. There's far more communication that you have to do. I think it's a pinnacle. I think you have to have 3-man, because you have to learn the basics. You know, you have to learn how to play the game than just jumping in and into a 5-man and wishing for the best.
Yeah, because I don't know who said this to me, but this when I first got into paintball, and it's in 3-mans. There's a lot less paint flying in the air versus a 5-man, and there's more time to breathe and take information in, and it's a lot less to process versus playing a 5-man because you're playing against 5 other guys. It's just like, oh, there's so much going on, and it's so much more chaotic. But 3-man really allows you to, take a step back and be like, okay, you know, I generally there's one guy that goes to the home and then the other two split out wide. And you can kind of guess of what the other team is doing. Sometimes they do some weird stuff and they'll probably send two guys up the middle and do some weird shit. But most of the time you can always assume what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for the most part. I mean, but I think it's a good starter spot. And I think it really will tell you if paintball is for you, if playing tournament paintball is what you want to do.
Hmm.
Because if you can get really good at a 3-man and you enjoy it and you're like, okay, hey, I want more, then go into 5-man. Like we're at that point now in our team's um lifespan, let's say, or we're at that point in time where we want to grow. We're hungry with 3-man, but we're starving for 5-man. We want to consume it.
Yeah. Do you think, based off that question for 3-man, do you think there's a market, or more of a market for 3-man versus 5-man at like the NXL, or do you prefer 5-man at the NXL and keep it at that?
I think it makes more sense to keep 5-man for the NXL level. And that's a tough one. I wish there was more 5-man, but I think it really dictates where you're at. Like we have the one and only airball field in the state. And we only have one.
Oh, we got two. We got Tommy Knockers.
Oh yeah, I mean okay, but I mean that hold consistent tournaments. Let's start there.
Okay.
Yeah, if JT could have more than one speedball field, so we could have bigger tournaments and more things going on at once, great. But we also have to have the player base for it as well. We had 21 teams this last 3-man event.
I think the max was 20. But yeah,
Was it 20?
yeah, it was. There had been JT was telling me there has been a trend upwards of more teams registering for the 3-man tournament, which is a good thing, obviously. But
100%.
it's got to make sense for JT to add a new field, and I don't know how much property he owns out there to
Right.
make another field, but I think you're right. I think if JT has the opportunity, has obviously the funds to make another field, I think he should because I feel like you can get way more things going on. You can not only have one team practicing at a time, but you can have two. Like you can have AAF out there, and we can, us be out there be at separate fields practicing at the same time, and you're making double the money. You're like,
Well, and it's not even that. It would get more eyes on it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It'd potentially get more teams out there, and he'd never have to shut down one field.
yeah, and yeah, because yeah, that's a very good point because JT for tournaments he shuts down that Saturday. You can't play the airball field on Saturday.
Correct.
Thing
Yep.
is, if you were to play, if he had two fields, you could continue playing on the second field and just have a random layout for that second field. You go down south, most field. I can't say most, but from what I've seen and experienced, the fields that I've seen have two, three, four airball fields, and they're just constantly going.
Yo,
And I
yeah,
think,
and it brings more revenue.
yeah, but you need to have the client base. You need to have the players coming in, and
Right.
you know, and that's obviously that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to grow our paintball community and try to get more guys and gals into the sport. And only with their help is how we can achieve our community growing.
Oh, 100%. And it's a group effort at the end of the day. We all have to work together to get to where we need to go.
For sure, it's been a blessing getting to talk to everybody that we've had the opportunity to talk to because we get their perspective in on things, and everyone has a different story. And where do you see yourself in 5 years, paintball wise?
In 5 years, I want to be as close to semi-pro as possible. My goal right now, the person I am chasing, is by the time I'm 40, I am semi-pro. That
And
that is where I want to be. Granted, I've got 7 years to do it. That
I
I
think that's awesome.
um yeah. I'm ready for the journey, to say the least. I don't know if my wallet's ready for the journey, but I'm ready for the journey. No, me and our teammate Smokey, me and him have really kind of had that conversation of where we want to be. And Smokey's kind of right there with me. He wants to make it as far as he can with it. At least he did. I don't know if he still does. I haven't talked to Smokey in a little
Oh,
while. Uh,
I know his heart's in the game, and I know he
oh,
wants to be.
100%. But yeah, me and him, because me and him would ride together to practice and stuff like that, and we just have those conversations of where the team is at, the state, what we want out of the sport, and we both agreed that hey, we want to get to semi-pro. We don't think we'll ever be pro, but we can be semi-pro.
Yeah.
And obviously that comes with a lot of hard work, a lot of suffering, a lot of dedication. As you saw in the group chat, I've really this season I've really started, my suffering and dedication to the sport. I'm down 12 pounds.
I'm proud of you.
Y-
I'm very excited for you, and I'm very proud of you.
I'm in the process of quitting smoking. That's been real rough. Working out more, trying to eat a little healthier. I'm really trying to get my body prepared for this journey. My mind's already in it. My heart's definitely in it. It's been in it. It's just catching the rest of my body up to it. It's going to be the struggle, and obviously catching the wallet back up. But I mean, I've got the gear. I've got the heart. It's just it's just fucking play. It's
Hell
really
yeah.
what it is. It's
In your eyes, I as much as I would love to see our organization succeed and get to that point where everybody wants to be at, semi-pro, or even like a D2, like a D1 or D2 team that got up to semi-pro or however it may be or seem like or what it would look like. In your opinion, what do you think is the path of least resistance in your eyes to get to semi-pro? Like, what would that look like in your eyes, or how would you want it to play out?
I think first it's getting everybody on the same page. It's really breaking it down. Get the basics out of the way. You know, um, really seeing who has the heart in it. Not necessarily the wallet, but the heart. We can, as a team, we can always make the money portion of it work one way or the other. It's getting people out of their shell. It's getting people to kind of like what we talked about earlier. Get them to understand that there's greatness in them. We just got to get it out of them.
Yeah.
It's like what Steven said last episode. Too many people have that fear, not enough courage.
Mhm.
We have to get people to get that courage and be courageous when they need to be. And for God's sakes, we got to get these guys to communicate. And we really need to dumb it down. I'm going to use our call outs as a prime example because obviously we've had some backlash on that one.
Mhm.
um in my honest perspective, I think the calls that we had prior, I think, were terrible. It was too much. It was too big of words, too long of words, kind of in like goofier spots. We need to just simplify it. We need to be simple. And I think we're getting there. We're getting there. Now we just need to I think we just need to get the heart in people to get it into the sport and into the team. Because, when we started, it was just like, yeah, hey, it's just a bunch of guys coming out to play. We got to get out of that mindset now. Hey, we're not here just to play. You know, we're here to fucking play. We're here to put in that work. We're here to, get gritty, get in the mud, put that work in, put that effort in, the blood, sweat, and tears. You know, it's grind time. Oh, I was just saying, I think once we get there, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, and like I was saying, I think our some of us on a team are they're not. It's not necessarily that they're opposed to change, but they're scared, and
Yep.
it's not anything negative about them. It's just like they're used to like for example the call outs. They're used to it. The thing is that I can be the first one to admit it because I do a poor job too, but we're not always communicating the best in the first place. And if everybody started from a clean slate, learning a new call out sheet, I think that would be a beneficial move. And I understand that a lot of us, we kind of do things the democratic way where we kind of vote on things and the majority wins. But this might be one of those this not issues, but this might be one of those topics where there might have to be some sort of what do you call it, dictator ruling, dictator ruling
Yeah,
on.
yeah, it's no longer a democracy. It's my way or the highway. This is what we need to do to push the team forward versus be complacent. Because in the sport of paintball, I'm not complacent. I am not okay with where I'm at this current point. And obviously I have to give you credit where credit is due. You've done an amazing job with this team,
Thank you.
getting them to where they need to be, or getting them to not getting them to where they need to be, because we're not there yet. And I say yet because we will be there.
The
I
stepping
mean, you
stone.
are, yeah, yeah, yeah. You built the cornerstone of the team. Now we just got to start laying down all the other blocks and build the team up to where they need to be. And obviously, you're the nicer guy. You are Mr. Nice Guy. You're non-confrontational, and then there's me. No, this is how we're gonna do it, um, which has obviously been a struggle for me. But
Mhm.
I think between obviously you and I, and this obviously this is live on the air as we talk. It's recorded. I think you and I need to really sit down and change things up with the team. Yeah, I think we need to put people. You need to put the right people in the right jobs. And obviously that's not. And I don't mean like changing, like Randy being a snake player going to Dorito. But like I think we need more leadership roles as far as the team goes. Obviously you and I are the coach. I think it comes down to maybe swapping out different captains this season. Making people fight and earn their spot. When it comes to being able to play and on the field. Me included. Granted, I'm just the home player, but maybe somebody's doing it better than me, and I think that's really what we have to look at going into this upcoming season. Because we're it's February. We've got almost 2 months until our first official practice, and then it's what is it? 2 weeks after that we go to EXL.
It's the week after, I think. So we got one practice before we go to EXL. The one thing I wish we could do is do something before that. Like
Right.
I think going to Siege would be nice, but I think what needs to happen is whoever's plans on going to the first event should go to Splatball Minneapolis. Just
Mm,
get the rust off. Like I know it
yeah.
for some it's a drive, but I think it's should be a thing that we should do just to get the rust off and get in the paintball mindset before a week before the event.
100%.
And I appreciate you being more of a hard ass than me. I just think moving like moving forward, I know you've been. This is how we're gonna do it. I just like to, no matter what, I think it's this team always thrives on a democratic view on things and getting everybody's input. But like I said, there might be there might be every once in a while might be one of those things where it's just gonna have to be this way, and everyone's just gonna have to be on board with it regardless. I think there's a different set of exceptions and rules that the traveling team's gonna have versus the rest of our guys who are just gonna stick around and play the local tournaments. There's obviously gonna be a different set of rules for those guys who are traveling.
Oh yeah, and you almost have to, because you have to hold the traveling team to a higher standard than
Exactly.
just the guys that are just going to stay at the field. You know what I mean? Not again, like you said, not like there's anything wrong with that, but to travel and to try and get that greatness out of you, we're almost, like I said, we're almost going to demand greatness out of the traveling players. You know,
Mhm.
and I know every single one of our guys can do it. I never want any bad blood between any of us on our team.
Yeah.
I am going to be a hard ass this upcoming season. There's gonna be no question about that. I'm gonna be an asshole, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
be an asshole because I love every single one of these guys on our team, and I know they can be better than what they are,
Yeah.
and I just need for them to try and see it themselves.
Yeah. I agree. I think this year it's going to be a lot of exploring people's intentions, for lack of a better term, on how they feel about playing tournament ball and if their heart's in it or not. And I know our whole team does have the heart in it, but are they in it for the long run?
Right,
Is
exactly.
that some, and there's nothing wrong with them not wanting to continue playing paintball, and that maybe they just want to play for a couple of years and that's it, and that's completely fine. Um, the hard thing is, and I think you are starting to realize this too, is who is in it for the long run and who's dedicated, and finding out, who's just trying to play paintball at the local tournaments, and that's fine. It's just the hard thing is that the defining the dedication from those other guys who want to go long term and to satisfy everybody's needs. I think that's one of the hardest thing is to satisfy everybody's needs, and I want to be that team that allows to satisfy a multitude of things. Like if you want to, travel, we have a travel line. If you just want to do local stuff, we have local stuff, and everything in between. And I want to be able to offer that to our team, so that way we don't have people leaving for those opportunities.
Yep. And I don't think we're gonna have that issue as long as the expectations are set ahead of time, I guess, quote unquote.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your stories and your I'm gonna call it theology on paintball. I really appreciate you coming up back to Minnesota, playing ball with us. Sharing what you've learned from the Rat Kings, and shout out to the Rat Kings. We appreciate you giving us Trevor back, utilizing his knowledge. Um, and yeah, it's just I want to thank you for everything that you've done for this team, and thank you for what you did with the Rat Kings, and the things that you're gonna do for our community. And I just want to shout out that we're looking forward to what you do with your photography and videography career and your education with that. And so I thank you for that too in advance.
It's gonna be a wild ride, that's for sure.
Hell yeah! But we're all in it. We're all strapped in all together. We're in the same boat here. Can't wait to weather the storm together.
That's yeah. I'm excited. It's gonna be a long road, but it's gonna be a great road.
Trevor, what's the most important thing to remember before you go out for a point?
The most important part is to just fucking play.
Let's go.